A lot of matters I want to clear the air with you.
Well, good morning and welcome to the annual general meeting of the Australian Olympic Committee. As always, before we commence, a few housekeeping items. A simple one, please turn your phones to silent. Appreciate you've got to use your phone later on in the course of the meeting, but keep an eye on that. If you require anything during the meeting, please ask, and feel free to ask a AEST staff member. Today there will be 3 proposed motions for our voting. Delegates to respond. Amendments to the AEST Constitution, which already notice has been given. Consideration of whether to admit a new recognised organisation to the Australian Olympic Committee. And of course, the elections for the 7 elected positions of the AOC Executive. It's important that all our voting delegates vote on each proposed motion. The first 2 motions, being the proposed constitutional changes and admission of a new recognised organisation, require a special majority of 75% of our voting members. Today again we're using True Vote, online voting platform, for all 3 proposed motions, and voting delegates will have already received instructions. All voting delegates should now, or by now, have verified their email with True Vote. If you haven't done so, could you please see one of the AO staff member located in the corner of the room on my right. When the voting opens, voting delegates will receive an email. So a couple of you have been asking me, I've received it, it hasn't gone out yet, so we'll do in due course an email and an SMS for their vote to be cast. Please note that you can only vote once on each proposed motion using either the email or the SMS function. And you have about a minute to do so. During the elections, we ask the voting delegates to remain in the room at all times. You know, it's an exhaustive ballot for the executive, so we want to be able to move smoothly through. We have made a small adjustment to the sequence of the agenda that has been previously circulated, and item 12, the award of the Harry Gordon Medallion, will now precede item 9. At the conclusion of the AGM, all delegates will be asked to move out of the room because we're having a media conference soon thereafter. And also, more importantly, there's a charming couple who are having their wedding here today, and they'd like to get in here and get set up, so very important. With that, I would now like to welcome Uncle Craig Madden, Gadigal Elder, to the AGM for our Welcome of Country. Craig Madden is a proud Gadigal and Bundjalung man who was born and raised in the inner city suburbs of Redfern, Alexandria, where he still resides today. He's worked within the Aboriginal community for the past 25 years as an Aboriginal employment consultant for Australia Post, and currently as Aboriginal Welfare and Community Liaison Officer for Corrective Services New South Wales. Mr Madden is a member of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, the Redfern Aboriginal Housing Company, Banbana Aboriginal Men's Group, in Redfern, and is a former director and current member of the Aboriginal Medical Services Redfern. Thank you, Uncle Craig Madden. I would now like to invite you to stand up and welcome us. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Warami, Bujiringamarua. My name is Craig Madden, and I'd like to start by thanking the Australian Olympic Committee for inviting me here today to welcome you to country. I'm a proud Bundjalung Gadigal man from the Eora Nation. And Gadigal land is the land on which we are gathered here today. Jinyura Gadigal. This land is Gadigal. It is customary for our Aboriginal people, as we invite guests or visitors onto our land or country, that we offer you safe passage as you pass through or sit on our lands. So as a proud Gadigal man and as a representative of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, I'd like to welcome you all to Gadigal land, Aboriginal land. I'd like to pay my respects to our elders, past and present, and honour the stories and traditions of our Aboriginal people from this land. I'd also like to acknowledge our ancestors who watch over us all as we walk upon these sacred lands. To any Aboriginal brothers and sisters, if we have any brothers and sisters from the Torres Strait Islands, welcome. To all our non-Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander brothers and sisters here today, a warm and sincere welcome to Gadigal land. Our Gadigal clan is one of the 29 clans which make up the Eora Nation, and that's a nation that's bound by 3 distinct landmarks. So we've got the Hawkesbury River to the north, the Nepean River out to the west, and the Georges River down to the south, and within the boundaries of those mighty rivers lie our Eora Nation, and the land that we stand on of our Gadigal people are one of the many clans of that nation. To our guests from across the seas, for anyone who's travelled from across our great country, great state to this beautiful city of ours, welcome. On behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council and its members, I hope you all enjoy the AGM as much as you can enjoy an AGM, I guess. Well, I hope it's productive anyways. On behalf of our members and our Gadigal mob, for those of you who are travelling afar this afternoon, please travel safely. And once again, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I think it's important to remember that under the grasslands and the asphalt and the waterways of our beautiful country, this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Craig. I now invite the President of the Australian Olympic Committee to open the AGM.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to have you here. Hope you're feeling fresh after last night. I'd like to thank also Uncle Craig Madden for his welcome to country, something which is very important to us. I declare open the meeting for which notice was given on the 3rd of March 2025. A few people I'd really like to welcome today. Our life members in attendance, Helen Brownlee, AM, John Coates, AC, Jeff Henke, just 97 years young, Jeffrey, going well, Jeffrey Henke, AO, Peter Montgomery, AM, Michael Wendon, AM, MBE, and our newest life member, who we look forward to celebrating later, Russ Withers. Joining me at the head table are the AOC Honorary Life President, John Coates, AC, our Vice Presidents, Matt Allen, AM, and Evelyn Halls, OAM, OLY. Jess Fox, great to have Jess now as our new IOC member. Jess Fox, OAM, OLY. Mary Ann Muggleston, AOC Company Secretary, and of course Matt Carroll, our CEO, Matt Carroll, AM. Doing his final tour of duty. Also like to welcome members of our executive, members of our Athletes Commission, Chair Brodie Summers, Deputy Chair Elise Wood, and both, of course, OLY, and other Athlete Commission members with us today, and I see a really good turn up, so thanks guys for coming along. Indigenous Advisory Committee Chair Patrick Johnson, OLY, Australian Olympians Association Chair David Colbert, OLY, Paul Batchelor, Chair of the Australian Olympic Foundation Investment Advisory Committee, and also welcome to John Robinson and Aaron Contreras representing EY. A warm welcome to all our member sports and their delegates, including our new presidents who have been appointed since we met last year. That was a virtual meeting, if you recall. But it does again indicate just how many new presidents we have when we go through this list. Sam Orty from fencing, Siobhan Burlane from sailing, Hayden Collins from diving, Stephen Donnelly from rowing, Robert Fiddyman from archery, Brad French from American football, Chris Feidler, OAM from swimming, Lorraine Hughes from shooting, who's the interim chair, Stephen Plummer from handball, Uldis Rudovic from wrestling, and Paul Stevens from triathlon. We've also seen a number of new CEOs of our member sports, and I welcome them as well. Alexandra Anderson from skate, who commences on May 26, so a couple of weeks still to come. Peter Bromley from archery, we know Peter well, now with archery. Kim Crane, welcome Kim, from paddle. Alistair Edgar from gymnastics. Todd Greenberg from cricket. Simon Hollingsworth from athletics, another Olympian in the CEO job, and Samantha Jones from equestrian. Also like to welcome Andrew Liveris, President of the Brisbane Organising Committee for the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. I said to you to go and speak to him yesterday. I didn't think so many of you would take that literally, but he had an interesting night yesterday. Alison Cray, AM, CSM President of Paralympics Australia. Cameron Murray, CEO of Paralympics Australia. Representatives of our state Olympic councils and the Australian Olympians Association. Thanks also to our chairs of the fundraising committees that were so useful to us and helpful in raising money to support our teams. And also a special welcome to our award winners today, who we'll recognise later, Russ Withers and Tom Decent. To observers, to our AOC team, to the members of the media, a big welcome to you all. I note some apologies, firstly from Life members Ron Harvey, CVOAM, who unfortunately cannot be here today. We send our best wishes to you, Ron. You're probably watching on YouTube. Mike Murphy, OLY, the chair of the, who's unfortunately unable to be here, the chair of the AOC Medical Commission, Dr. David Hughes, AM, FAC, SEP. Also note apologies from Kate Jenkins, AO, the chair of the ASC. If there are any other apologies, would you kindly just mention them to Mary Ann at the conclusion of the meeting, and we'll make sure that they're popped into the meeting, into the minutes. It's with great sadness that we recognise and honour Olympians and AOC Life members who have passed away over the past year. I note in particular the passing of AOC Life members Kevin Gosper, AO, and Sir Donald Trescothick, AC, KBE. Kevin, an Olympian from Melbourne 56, where he won a silver, and also from Rome 1960, was a true giant of the Australian Olympic movement. He made an extraordinary contribution to both the AOC as president from 1985 to 1990, and the IOC, where he served as vice president on 2 occasions, having been an IOC member from 1977 to 2013. It's an extraordinary time, isn't it? I left school in 1977. 2013 doesn't seem that long ago, so it was an extraordinary contribution. His role in leading the Oceania National Olympic Committee was something that brought him particular pleasure, and he was so well respected amongst all our Pacific friends. Sir Donald Trescothick was deeply passionate about the Olympic movement, serving on the executive into the Sydney 2000 Games, and vitally as the inaugural chair of the Australian Olympic Foundation Investment Advisory Committee. His stewardship in that regard has ensured the AOC's ongoing financial health, and to this day, and I deeply appreciated his wise advice and counsel over the years. To mark those passings, the passing of those servants of our movement, and to pay tribute to them, we've prepared a special video. So let's turn our eyes to the big screens. Thank you. In respect and memory of these colleagues, we'll now all observe a moment of silence, please. Thank you. So, let's get on with the meeting, shall we? Item 4 on our agenda. Minutes of the last annual general meeting held on the 4th of May 2024 were circulated with the agenda for this meeting on the 11th of April 2025. Does anyone have any comments in respect of those minutes? If not, could I have a motion, please, to the minutes be confirmed as a true and correct record?
I'm happy to put forward that motion. Ian.
Thank you, Matt. All those in favour? Show of hands. All those against? Thank you. We're going to be out of here in good time at this rate. Well done. I declare the motion carried. Is there any business arising from the previous minutes that anyone wishes to raise? Again, all silent. Thank you. So, on to item 5 of our agenda now. I will hand over to our CEO for the presentation of the 2024 annual report, the financial statements of the committee and the independent auditor's report. But before Matt swings into action in voice, let's see a short video of the 2024 year in review.
Au revoir. Merci beaucoup.
Good morning again. I don't think I need to say much after you've seen the great summary there from the video. But I have great pleasure in presenting the 2024 2024 annual report, financial statements of the committee and the independent auditors report of the Australian Olympic Committee. The annual report details the final outcomes of our Paris Quad strategic initiatives, a unique quad of only 3 years. The initiatives are listed in the report and were based on 5 key ambitions, which was continue to build on our organisational culture, capability and capacity to ensure the AOC is well placed to achieve our objectives, provide our member sports and their athletes with the support they need to maximise opportunities at the Beijing 2022 and Paris 2024 Games, evolve our successful community and Olympian programs to derive further value for the Olympic movement across Australia, extend our leadership and advocacy for sport by utilising the 10-year runway to Brisbane 32, and embed into the AOC what we do and the way we do it. These 5 ambitions serve to maintain our focus, evaluate our priorities and measure the ultimate success. I report that, overall, we have successfully achieved our initiatives. To achieve this outcome, we worked hard at maintaining a strong culture of team effort, positive contribution, listening to and learning from our stakeholders and acting with respect and integrity. Not perfect, but always working at being better. Maximising the opportunity for member sports and our athletes came together in the Australian Olympic team to the Paris Games. Australia was the 3rd largest team at the Games with 467 athletes, supported by sport officials, support staff and headquarters team. A total delegation size of more than 1,000 Australians. An investment of $26 million only made possible by our partners, official suppliers, the team appeal and the Australian Olympic Foundation. The team achieved Australia's best ever gold medal count, an equal best medal tally finish through the efforts of the athletes and the dedication of the coaches, officials and management of you, our member sports. Our investment in the Olympic team planning and delivery was guided by adopting an athletes first approach. This ensured the AOC delivered a world-class high-performance environment at the Paris Games that it was acknowledged by you, our member sports and your athletes. This approach also met the challenge of having over 1/3 of the team based outside the Paris Olympic Village, in locations across France and, as we know with our surfing friends, all the way to Tahiti. This spread of location has been repeated in the next winter and summer games, a challenge. A key to successful delivery was the experienced and qualified professionals across all the team services, supported by secondments from the National Institute Network and our own AOC staff. The dedication, attention to detail and athlete focus ensured delivery of quality services. Importantly, 57 Olympians contributed as officials and staff across teams, sports and HQ, ensuring there was an understanding of the shared games experience. AOC investment in data and digital services created an ecosystem of connected applications to meet the objectives in games planning, accommodation, accreditation and all the logistics. With data centralised in a single system, we garner key insights and make data-driven decisions, a very hackneyed word these days, but very important, helping to improve the athlete experience at Games. Medals, along with personal bests and athletes simply giving their best, inspired the nation. Telling the story is critical to maximising opportunities for you, our member sports and your athletes, along with sponsors, governments and agencies, and most importantly, engaging and retaining our Olympic fans. Official broadcaster and AOC partner, the Nine Network, delivered an exceptional coverage, reaching 19.5 million Australians with 4.4 billion minutes streamed on Nine Now and Stan subscriptions increasing by 50%. Our partner News Corp delivered over 3,000 content pieces, 38 million video views and 89 million page views to tell the story of the athletes. More than 120 Australian media were accredited to cover the games across France. The AOC's own marketing and digital activity reached 166 million users from July to August with the 3 campaigns LA Oz, Have a Go and Team Oz. The campaigns resulted in Australia engaging with almost 3 million Australian fans. Fan data, which as we all know is important to the commercial future of the AOC and member sports. In collaboration with Paralympics Australia, the Nine Network, member sports partners, governments and the AOC initiated Olympics and Paralympics Live, driving more than 500 live sites across Australia, resulting in direct engagement with 400,000 Australian fans. Our partner Westfield hosted live sites in 38 centres, reporting increased foot traffic of over 1 million people engaging with Olympic sport. The AOC commercial partners and IOC global partners amplified the athletes' endeavours through 32 campaigns in the Australian market, with 120 athletes benefiting as brand ambassadors. Through the Host City program, the other team at the Games brought together athletes' families, friends and representatives of member sports, government and commercial partners. The program delivered high-level services which were well received and gratefully acknowledged. This service included, for the first time, the management of the new AEST ticketing system. Dedicated AEST staff managed bookings and delivery of over 9,000 tickets to our family and friends and stakeholders, with a value in excess of $2.5 million. The Olympians returned to joint welcome home celebrations across Australia with their Paralympian teammates. We thank the state and territory governments and local councils for their support of the celebrations and all the fans that turned out to honour the Olympians and the Paralympians. Maximising opportunities was certainly the driving force of the chef division, Anna Mears, and her deputy chefs. They ensured every athlete mattered and had support for their personal opportunity at the Games. My thanks to Anna Mears, down there, Anna Mears, for her outstanding leadership of the team. It was my great pleasure to work with her. The Paris Olympics were not the only Games in 2024. The AOC delivering a 47-strong team from 8 sports to the Gangwon Winter Youth Olympic Games, winning 3 medals. While the athlete pathways opportunity provided by the Youth Games varies from sport to sport, for the competing athletes, the Games provide a great experience of a multi-sport environment. Our thanks to Ramon Cooper, Vancouver 2020 Moguls Olympian, for his leadership of the team as chef de mission. Of course, we move on, and so planning is well advanced for the Milan Cortina Olympic Winter Games in February 2026, not far away, and the AOC team has already been in Los Angeles gearing up for 2028. Rising engagement numbers and diversification of delivery has evolved our successful community and Olympian programs, which will drive further value for the Olympic movement across Australia. This value is recognised by member sports, students, teachers, education departments, governments, families, Olympians and sponsors. These programs go beyond Games time, delivering the message that the Olympics are always on. The annual report provides extensive details on all the programs which will continue to grow in value as time ticks down to the home Games. The relationship with our member sports is the AOC's most important and highly valued. Over the year, we engaged across many activities and subjects, including teams, digital, Brisbane 32, impact and legacy, fan engagement, and always important, government investment. My personal thanks to the presidents and CEOs of the sports for your valued contribution to the formulation of our strategies through debate. Your input and insight is vital to the AOC delivering on what is important to your sport and your athletes. In 2024, we continued our strong advocacy for the direct federal government investment in member sports and investment in the Sports Commission's Win Well, Play Well strategies. This included submissions to the federal budget, meetings with the Prime Minister, ministers, opposition leaders, shadow ministers and senior government officials. The ASC's publicly stated position for high performance and pathway grants was a commitment of an additional $130 million from the federal budget of last year. While the result was less than asked, nevertheless it was a substantial increase from many years of net zero. AOC advocacy over the last 2 years has contributed to achieving increased federal government funding to high performance sport and athletes totalling almost $135 million. We thank the federal government for this investment and particularly the support of the Sports Minister, Annika Wells. We also acknowledge and thank the state and territory governments for their investment in Olympic sport at both the community and high performance levels. Along with the member sport representatives, we participated in the development of the National Sports Plan for the Government 24-32, the review of the government's sport diplomacy strategy, and continue to work in collaborative with the Sports Commission to initiate and deliver their Win Well, Play Well strategies. I thank the Sports Commission CEO, Kieran Perkins, and his team for their initiatives and support of our member sports and their athletes, particularly in this Olympic year. The AOC is a member of the Sports Diplomacy Consultative Group, established by the government under their new sports diplomacy strategy. It's a consultative mechanism between the Commonwealth Government and the sports sector for collaboration on international sporting issues. No better example of collaboration was the AOC successfully delivering the second Pacific Athletes Partnership project with the government. The Pacific to Paris project, built on the successful Tokyo 2020 project, supported over 250 athletes, 57 para-athletes from 13 Pacific nations across 15 sports. It led to 104 Olympic and a record 13 Paralympic qualifications. Standout moments include Fiji's men's rugby sevens, Rugby Australia, silver medal, Samoa's Alex Ross reaching the final in the discus, and Kiribati's historic Paralympic debut. I acknowledge the important work and great contribution of Sport Integrity Australia and their CEO, David Sharp, who stepped down in 2024. David always said that to protect sport we had to work together, and that he did. Equally, our thanks to Dr Michelle Gallen and her team at the National Sports Tribunal for their work, including conducting the team appeals process for the first time. The federal and state parliamentary friendship groups were active during the year, holding 5 events, providing the Australian Olympic Committee and Paralympic Australia with direct contact with parliamentarians. Our thanks to the co-chairs of each of the groups for their personal commitment to the Olympic and Paralympic movement in Australia. Our relationship with the IOC remains strong and respected as we are active participants in the IOC programs and working groups. Of note, in collaboration with the National Olympic Committees of USA, Canada, UK and New Zealand, we successfully advocated the IOC the establishment of commercial expert group of NOC and IOC executives, working together on shared commercial opportunities and development of the IOC digital strategy, very important to the future of both the IOC and NOCs. Member sports and athletes benefit from IOC solidarity programs, which provided grants totalling $638,000 for coaching and athlete development. And I extend the AOC's sincere thanks to the IOC and particularly to James McLeod and his team at NOC Relations and Olympic Solidarity. Australia's influence in the Olympic world benefits from the strong collaborative relationship we enjoy with the Olympic committees, as I said before, they're USA, Canada, New Zealand, UK, the 5 Eyes, as we call ourselves. And this productive relationship covers many policy, mutual support and team planning, commercial and digital strategies, marketing and working together. And we can then also take those learnings which we take to our friends in the Pacific. The Pacific Games Council General Assembly is held in Palau, and while we're an associate member, our attendance and involvement is welcome and appreciated. The Council is currently reviewing the size of the Games as well as seeking to achieve full recognition of the Games by the IOC and international federations. The General Assembly unanimously endorsed a continuation of the invitation to the IOC for the next 2 upcoming editions of the Games. The President and I represented the IOC at the General Assembly, the Oceania National Olympic Committees, and the President is also a member of the ONOC Executive. The Assembly provided an opportunity for forums and working meetings to be held, including continuing the impetus of developing initiatives for the Pacific NOCs and their sports towards Brisbane 2032. In 2024, we completed 78% of our current Innovate Reconciliation Action Plan, with the remaining 22% to be completed by June of this year. The Innovate RAP, developed with the IOC's Indigenous Advisory Committee, champions practical applications to advance reconciliation and commits the IOC to work closely with member sports, particularly encouraging member sport reconciliation action plans. A particular outcome to the IOC's commitment to reconciliation through sport came to life with the Indigenous Coaching Scholars we extended over this previous year, presented by Toyota, athlete performance grants for Paris, and Indigenous culture integrated in the Olympic team through uniform design, meaningful village art, and particularly welcoming the yarning circle in the village. On climate action and sustainability, we exceeded our 30% emissions reduction target, achieving an overall 36% across the 4-year average under our plan. We implemented a pilot program of support for 8 member sports to develop and implement their own climate action plan, and have completed the IOC's first stage pilot development with Deloitte, which helps NOCs develop and refine their longer-term emission reduction plans. The relationship with Brisbane 32 is vitally important to the IOC over the next 7 years. My thanks to the CEO, Cindy Hook, and her team who worked collaboratively with the IOC team to ensure we maintained open and constructive dialogue, meeting regularly to build common understanding and planning to achieve shared opportunities. All this will be critical to both the success of the Games and the future of Olympic sports in Australia. In sync with Brisbane 32 relationship, significant work went into the development of the IOC's Impact 32 Plus plan, developed through extensive consultation with member sports, Paralympics Australia, Brisbane 2032, Queensland and federal government agencies, IOC, local communities. The plan will be launched later this year. We continued our close and productive relationship with Paralympics Australia and Commonwealth Games Australia. These relationships have proved of great benefit through a unified voice to government and a shared ambitions. My personal thanks to Craig Phillips, CEO of Commonwealth Games, and Cameron Murray, CEO of Paralympics Australia. The organisational changes implemented post-Tokyo proved successful in addressing our capability and capacity, and underpin the successful outcomes detailed in this annual report. As time does not wait, following the Paris Games, we again evaluated our organisation to provide the AOC with that capability and capacity across 3 new and important accountabilities. To manage the Games allied relationships with Brisbane 32, the IOC and Games partners, particularly the Queensland and Commonwealth governments. To ensure the AEST can effectively play its role as a signatory to the Games host contract through its directors on the organising committee board, and importantly to be able to lead and work with member sports in achieving lasting impact and legacy from the Brisbane Games. So the AEST can effectively launch with confidence in the start of the two quads, like the two quads are one in effect, Los Angeles and Brisbane. We separated public affairs from the Chief of Media and Communications to provide greater capacity to support the additional accountabilities, and create a new role of Chief of Public Affairs and International Relations to provide in-house advocacy for AEST and member sports and support the development of our key strategic relationships. To the financials, the AEST recorded a planned deficit for the year of $10.1 million as part of the funding of the Australian Olympic team to Paris. Managing this deficit was made possible through achieving strong sponsorship revenue of $75 million over the quad. This was a 15% increase on the equivalent 2020 cycle and a 50% increase on the 2016 cycle. This level of revenue growth over the prior cycles highlights the significant corporate support the Australian Olympic team and the AEST generates, allowing us to invest in our teams and programs. We thank all our partners, 14 AEST global and 20 AEST domestic and 10 official suppliers, not only for their financial investment and leveraging their support and engagement with the Australian team, our community programs, RAP initiatives and sustainability. They have indeed been part of the team. We thank the state and territory governments who provided team appeal donations totalling $2.8 million, and a heartfelt thanks to their team appeal chairs and the committee members who provided their valuable time and dedication in driving fundraising revenue via the Olympic dinners. The Australian Olympic Foundation continues to be a core contributor to the AEST's operations, providing long-term revenue certainty. For this quad, income distributions totaled $37.6 million, being a 10% increase in returns compared to the 2020 cycle. This enabled the AEST to commit to direct investments of $9.7 million over the quad in athletes and sports. Our thanks to the Investment Advisory Committee, chaired by Dr. John Hewson, for the ongoing commitment and expertise in their guidance. John stepped down as chair in 2024 and has been succeeded by long-time committee member Paul Batchelor. As noted in my report, Sports 5's commercial representation of the AEST concluded at the end of 2024. Sport 5, since the 1990s under previous ownerships, has been outstanding in their service to the AEST and the Australian Olympic movement. The Paris Quad, their last under this tenure, was the most successful in commercial outcomes, servicing our 44 partners and official suppliers. Our sincere thanks to Damien Mostyn and all the team at Sport 5 for their expertise, results and dedication to our commercial program over the decades, and a special acknowledgement of Mike Bushell being there from the beginning. The annual report details the AEST's financial statements, executive's declaration and independent auditor's report from EY. Thank you to EY for their work and Gold Star approval of our financial processes and reporting. Looking ahead, the commercial operating environment will significantly change with the joint marketing program agreement with Brisbane and 32 and the AEST commences 1 January 27, running until 31 December 2032. During this period, while we retain complete control of the operational delivery of all our activities, the AEST's commercial assets and IP related Olympic teams and our programs are integrated into the Games commercial program managed by Brisbane 2032. So maintaining relations with corporate Australia during this time will be important for the AEST when we go back into the market post the Brisbane Games. So summing up, the achievements the AEST set out in the 2024 annual report were only possible by the dedication and the work of the many. That work, what we do, has been achieved through the executive, our commissions and committees, chef de mission and deputies, our management and staff working together towards achieving our 10 initiatives, importantly focused on the way we do it. Thank you to our President, Ian Chesterman, and the executive for their support of the senior management team, staff and myself. Knowing we had the support gave us the confidence in getting the job done. My thanks to the members of the Athletes Commission who provided great insights to policy and direction, members of the Indigenous Advisory Committee whose guidance we are indeed fortunate to have, and members of the Medical Commission whose contribution is so important to the teams. Thanks to the members of our other commissions and committees, while not in the spotlight, provide advice and direction in the development of strategy and achievement of outcomes. As this is my last annual report, I look back on the 8 years as CEO of the AEST with great satisfaction. Challenges, yes, but hey, that's what makes the job. We reinvented the AEST into a dynamic organisation bigger than just the Games, engaging with the Australian community, embracing the great asset of our Olympian alumni and strenuously advocating for the role of sport. To achieve the always on, we have leveraged our greatest asset, the role of getting Australian teams to the Olympic Games and other games. So this 8 years we've seen the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Games. That was my introduction to the 5 rings. Winter sports and a unique role they play in the Australian sports landscape, and thank you to Jeff Henke for being my instructor at those games. The Summer Games of Tokyo 2020 +1, the postponed games. All of us contributed to organising an Australian team to Tokyo in the middle of a pandemic, borders closed, ensured they were vaccinated, found flights from multiple airlines, and thank God for the fishermen down in South Australia who kept our flights flying to get the sushi back to Japan and sell. Got them home through quarantine, some wearing medals, but every one of them an Olympian. Yes, a challenge, but a team effort by all, and how special. The Beijing Winter Games, still under the COVID rules, great achievements, but also got to see Australia's first curling Olympians. It's part of the magic of the Games. Then there were the Youth Games, summer in Buenos Aires, as Evelyn Hall knows, a bunch of under-18s, what could possibly go wrong being in Buenos Aires. Winter Youth in Lausanne and medals in Gangwon. Pacific Games in Samoa and the Solomons, playing our part in supporting our Pacific neighbours. And you probably have all forgotten about this one, the Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games in Ashgabat 2017. An interesting experience, but still proud Australian athletes representing their country with 2 bronze medals in Taekwondo. And possibly a one-off, the 2019 Qatar World Beach Games, where some of our sports got a run, which may never be repeated, but a silver in wakeboarding. Then, of course, finished off with Paris 2024. What a ride. I thank my 2 presidents, John Coates and Ian Chesterman, both with us today, for their unstinting confidence and support, who, along with the executive, provided the guidance and confidence for me to do my job. I particularly thank the Athletes Commission and Indigenous Advisory Committee members over the years. Always enjoyable, thought-provoking meetings with genuine commitment, sparking new ideas, which we had great pleasure in putting into action. To the senior management team, leadership group and all the staff, thank you for your dedication, caring about what we do, and most importantly, your friendship. You have made a positive difference to the AOC and the Australian Olympic movement, of which I am immensely proud. I've enjoyed a rewarding career in sport, and to finish my full-time commitment as the Chief Executive of the Australian Olympic Committee, well, I couldn't ask for more. So with that, I propose the 2024 Annual Report, Financial Statements and Independent Auditors Report be received.
I'm happy to put forward that motion.
All those in favour? Done. Motion carried. I now hand back to the President to continue the meeting.
Thanks, Matt. It's been a big 8 years, but it's been a very big 2024, so thanks for all you've done. It's nice to reflect on the great year that was. Not so much happening this year games-wise, but 2026 is big, obviously, with the Winter Games in Milano Cortina, and a special welcome to Ben Houston and Craig Phillips from Commonwealth Games Australia, and best wishes for your preparations as we head towards those games in 2026 as well. So let's move to the proposed changes of the AOC Constitution, item 6 of the agenda. And I call on Chair of our Corporate Governance Committee, Evelyn Halls, to take us through those changes.
Thanks, Ian. Today, the AOC is proposing a special resolution to its members to amend its constitution. The changes are set out in the explanatory memorandum that was circulated to members with the agenda on 11th of April. The proposed changes update provisions concerning the composition and election of the AOC Athletes Commission and were approved by the AOC Executive in 2024, following consultation with the AOC Indigenous Advisory Committee and AOC Athletes Commission. In particular, the changes seek to move the Athletes Commission election process to be an online process, taking place after the relevant games. They also aim to align integrity provisions with the IOC guidelines and elevate the importance of members of the Athletes Commission having no sanction for a breach of the Olympic Movement Code on the prevention of competition manipulation. The changes also update provisions concerning the composition of the Athletes Commission, removing language which requires Indigenous athletes to be elected to the Commission and allowing for the appointment of Indigenous athletes by the AOC Executive in circumstances where 2 Indigenous athletes have not already been elected.
Thanks, Evelyn. They're all before you. Does anybody have any comments in respect to the proposed changes? All silent. Thank you. So I put forward on behalf of the AEST Executive a resolution to amend the Australian Olympic Committee Constitution effective 3 May 2025 as outlined in the explanatory memorandum circulated to members with the agenda on April 11 this year. Amendments to the Constitution require a special majority of not less than 3/4, 75% of the number of voting persons at this general meeting. So let's see how this voting works, hey? Voting is now open and you'll have 1 minute to register your vote. Mine's just come through.
3 times.
Oh, there we go. I'm good.
I can't be as resistant.
Yeah, you can do it on 5 phones at once.
Each of these votes will just take a little bit of time whilst the system works its way through. And I'll wait for the nod. We can close voting now. All good?
Passed.
So, I declare the amendments carried. Thank you very much. Now I'll pass to Matt Allen, Vice President, to take us through the second voting item. Thanks, Matt. You're that way. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Good morning, everybody. Today, at the request of Floorball Australia, members are asked to consider, and if thought fit, approve the admission of Floorball Australia as a recognised organisation of the Australian Olympic Committee effective 3rd of May 2025. As a reminder, the committee may, at an annual general meeting, approve by special majority the admission of a recognised organisation, being an Australian organisation affiliated to an international federation governing a sport not included in the sports program of the next Olympic Games or the next Olympic Winter Games. I now ask you to cast your vote, and you'll have, until we get the heads up, time to vote.
I think we're all still waiting.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Some people have had success. I'm still waiting. Here we go. Okay, we'll keep it going for a little bit longer. Anybody not received it? Assume you're all top decision makers. You've probably had enough time to vote. Anybody not being able to vote? Okay, let's close that off, please. Thank you very much. We have a result. I'm delighted to declare Football Australia as a recognised organisation of the AOC. Congratulations to Floorball Australia. I'm going to move over here to talk to you all. Can I start by acknowledging also the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet today and thank Uncle Craig Madden. Thank you again for your warm welcome. The AOC, as we know, is committed to reconciliation with our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island peoples. We thank them for nurturing our lands and waterways for thousands of years and making such an incredible contribution to our country in so many ways. I especially acknowledge the 66 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, our known 66 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who have partaken in our Olympic teams. And I thank our Indigenous Advisory Committee for helping to make us as an organisation and a movement even better. I particularly thank Patrick Johnson, Mr 9.93, that they're chasing you, mate, who is truly an inspiration. Without doubt, the highlight of 2024 was the incredible performance of our Australian Olympic team in the Paris Olympic Games, both on and off the field of play. Our team is your team, our member sports, and I thank you once again for your passion and your commitment that helped produce such an outstanding team, 467 athletes in total, bringing home a record 53 medals, and of course bringing our country such incredible pride. I also thank the Australian Sports Commission, led by Chair Kate Jenkins and CEO Kieran Perkins, and the whole National Institute network for such a great contribution to the success of the Australian team. It remains a surprise to many around the world that a country of just 27 million people can not only win 18 gold, 19 silver and 16 bronze medals, leaving us fourth on the Olympic medal tally, but we also take the third biggest team of any nation to the Games. Only the USA and host nation France were larger in 2024. 206 National Olympic Committees plus the refugee team, and only 2 bigger. It's extraordinary. It's a matter of great pride to us at the AOC that we create the opportunity for everybody who has qualified for the Games to attend the Games. Many nations, of course, don't do that, often because they can't afford to, but we believe that an Australia with more Olympians is a better Australia. And for sports, representation at a Games is a lifeblood of the organisation, encouraging the next generation that they too might get the opportunity to pull on the green and gold at an Olympic Games. We were thrilled that wrestling was back as part of the team in Paris, and that 3-on-3 basketball made it after missing out in Tokyo. We spent $26 million, as Matt pointed out, to send the team to Paris, and of course we're pleased to do so. We'll spend over $5 million sending the team to Milano Cortina. Sending teams to Olympic Games is our #1 reason for being. In LA, we're looking at a team size north of 550 and well in excess of $30 million required to run that operation. And we're very much hoping that that includes athletes from flag football, cricket, lacrosse, softball, baseball and squash, and I welcome all our new member sports to our meeting today. Of course, in Brisbane 2032, we'll have the maximum team size, likely over 650 athletes, remembering we had 632 in Sydney, because of course we're the host nation. So the challenge is for all sports to be ready to make the most of those opportunities. For some, this is the first time since Sydney, but let's hope that we can use this runway to make sure those sports are not waiting for another home games to make another appearance for their Olympic athletes. Between now and Brisbane, we've of course got much to achieve. First up, Milano Cortina 2026 with our team led by our Olympic champion, our chef de mission, Elisa Camplin-Warner. We expect a team size of around 50. It's grown to 60 last night, Elisa. That's good. I like more athletes, more Olympians, better Australia. I think things are looking really good for our winter athletes, and I congratulate the Olympic Winter Institute Chair, Dean Gosper, who's here, CEO Jeff Lipshut, thank you, and thank you to all our member sports. And I congratulate you on the recent achievements of our athletes in the Northern Hemisphere season. The podium count alone was impressive, 42 medals won at World Cup and World Championships this past season. I'm particularly hopeful that biathlon can return to the Australian team in Milano Cortina, and I thank Biathlon Australia for their commitment to really turn their sport around for the benefit of the athletes involved. Ski mountaineering will also make its debut, and I welcome delegates from that sport to the Olympic movement as well. You're joining something pretty special. In winter sports, we always seem to find a way to succeed where many think we shouldn't. After LA 28, the French Alps has been awarded the 2030 Olympic Winter Games, and then of course we're home to Brisbane. I'm delighted that Anna Mears will lead the Australian team to LA. I thank her for her extraordinary debut as chef de mission, and I know she'll go from strength to strength in that role. Her team of deputies in Paris, all Olympians, which is fantastic. Kenny Wallace, Kyle Vanderkuyp, Bronwyn Knox and Carly McCulloch were also superb, and I'm delighted that across summer and winter we're advancing the next generation of leaders. Just this week we announced that ski cross athlete Katja Kremer, a two-time Olympian, as our Deputy Chef de Mission for 2026, supporting the work of Elisa and her team. The AOC, under your leadership team as me as President, along with Evelyn Halls and Matt Allen as Vice Presidents, will continue to drive opportunities for leaders of the future. We also remain passionate about creating more opportunities for more Australians. You'll recall at the 2024 AGM, we announced the formation of a new fund, and I'm pleased to update you that we're closer to launching it after a mountain of work put in to get the required financial architecture around it. The fund will be the first that we launch under the new Australian Olympic Community Foundation, a structure that will raise money for a range of causes going forward, importantly including the first up, the Indigenous Athlete Scholarships, while we're also pursuing DGR status, which has eluded us to date. In this fundraising effort, we're looking to raise money to support emerging athletes in our sports, not to generate money for existing AOC programs. Our intention is to be complementary to sports, not in competition for funds. We have a long day ahead, so I'm not going to go on too long. You might think that's already been achieved, but there are some people that I would like to acknowledge. Our Australian Olympic Foundation continues to be an absolutely vital source of funds to support the AOC operations. Again, the reason we can send full teams to Olympic Games and to other games benefiting our member sports is that we have this vital independent resource. Having been boosted to around $100 million following a windfall 90 from the Sydney Olympics nearly 25 years ago, the foundation was at the end of 2024 worth around $190 million. Since its inception to the end of 2024, despite issues like the GFC, the COVID pandemic, the foundation has generated an average 8.14% return. But most importantly, the AOF, has distributed $167 million to the AOC to support its programs. across those years, including $37 million in the last quad alone. By the end of the coming quad, the amount of distributions will be close to or exceed $200 million, and we'll still have around $200 million working hard for us and working hard for the next generations. It's a reminder to us all once again, and I know there's still voices who think we should be raiding the bank, but the Foundation's funds can only be spent once and then it's gone forever. But the way it's been carefully managed means it's there to help for decades to come, the lasting legacy of the Sydney Olympics, and there will be no similar windfall, sadly, out of Brisbane. And the exceptional performance of our foundation across those years has been largely due to our AOF, Investment Advisory Committee, the IAC, and a special thanks to Dr. John Hewson, who chaired the IAC since its inception in 2001 until late last year, when he stepped aside, handing the chair to another long-serving member, Paul Batchelor. Our sincere thanks go to Dr. John for his incredible leadership and success, and whilst he's stepped aside as chair, I'm delighted that he'll continue to make a contribution as a member of the committee. And I thank Paul Batchelor and the rest of the IAC for their wonderful work and amazing dedication, volunteering their time to serve. Thank you, Paul. We will acknowledge Matt Carroll's exceptional contribution later in the meeting when he's presented with his AOC Order of Merit. Your executive thought that Matt was a highly deserving recipient of this prestigious award, this organisation's highest honour, and I agree wholeheartedly. Matt has been an exceptional CEO who's served under John Coates' presidency and mine. Both of us were enormously fortunate to have such a hugely capable person and such an extraordinarily decent human there to support us day in, day out. We thank him. I thank him. I also thank his staff. We're incredibly fortunate to have the talented and hard-working team behind the team, working across so many areas to advance the Olympic movement in this country. A standout in 2024 was the organisation wrapped around the Olympic teams in Paris. The care, the detail that went into supporting our athletes, our coaches and support staff, providing them with the best possible environment to perform was obvious to all and rightly brought us accolades. We're seen as the benchmark in every Olympic village that others strive for and few achieve, maybe none. It's also wonderful to have the opportunity to celebrate John Coates' elevation to Honorary Life President now he's finished as an AOC executive member. Again, more will be said later, but no one has given greater service to the AOC than John, and it was wonderful to see him elected as an IOC honorary member, effective on January 1 this year, when his maximum time as an IOC member was reached. John has, since I was elected, kindly stepped back and let me get on with my job, but he's always available to provide advice and support whenever requested. He's had a rough trot the past 6 months, but he's bouncing back. I think he's bounced well back. And John maintains great energy and drive for the Olympic movement. And John, we look forward to your presentation to follow. A special guest today is our Brisbane 2032 Organising Committee Chair, Andrew Liveris. Andrew, you've got a tough job, but the energy and the passion that you bring to the role is enormous. You're a great friend of the AOC, and I know a champion for our sports and our athletes. Thank you most sincerely for what you're doing. Only 7 years to go, mate. There's lots of bumps and twists along the way. And to Paralympics Australia President Alison Cray and CEO Cam Murray, thanks for your support and leadership as we work together to support the athletes of Australia. There are so many others to thank. I could not ask for two better vice presidents, and I thank Evelyn Halls and Matt Allen for their selfless service. Our executive performed very well, and I thank Kitty Chiller, Craig Carraher, Mark Arbib, Mike Murphy, Kath Fattel, Elisa Camplin-Warner and Liz Scott for their enormous contribution across the past 3 years. We've got Brody there now helping us as well, and Jess Fox has also joined us post-Paris and still somehow finds time to bring her insights and views to the table. Greatly appreciated, Jess, and I think she deserves a round of applause for her election as IOC member. Mark Arbib, of course, joins us as our next CEO on Monday. Take it easy tomorrow, mate. Things get tough on Monday. We're really excited by this appointment. Mark understands his brief is to maximise the outcomes for all of us on the road to Brisbane 2032, and importantly bring a vision and a strategy that will ensure that we emerge even stronger after our home games for decades to come. This is our opportunity to have the next generation of Australians more in love with the Olympics and the Olympic sports than at any time before. Melbourne started that process, Sydney delivered, but we need to take it to another level again, and Brisbane, with Mark and his team driving the effort, will take us to an even higher place and embed us in the psyche of our nation. We've been very well served by our Athletes Commission across the last 3 years, and I thank Kate Campbell for her leadership during her time as chair, and I welcome Brodie Summers to the role. I've already seen firsthand what he brings to the job as AEST chair and also as a full voting member of our executive, so thank you, Brodie. Thank you to our commissions for your work and guidance. We rely heavily on you and we're better off for your work. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank IOC President Thomas Bach for his exceptional service to our Olympic movement across 12 extraordinary and often so very challenging years. Thomas, we've been lucky to have you. And I wish IOC President-elect Kirsty Coventry the very best. We're close to Kirsty, our Brisbane 2032 Coordination Commission Chair, and I know that she'll be a champion for our Games. And to all our member sports, I thank you again for your support. We worked hard for the additional federal government funding that has flowed to our sports, a record $154 million of new money announced across the past 2 years. And we thank the federal government, the opposition, and of course the Australian Sports Commission for their continued support of our movement. We've come a long way in the past 2 years and are deeply grateful. But we need to be realists and stay ahead of our competition. And we know you're already doing it tough as member sports. The towel is wrung dry and you need help for our athletes to be at their best. After our stunning success in Paris, the rest of the world has taken notice, I'm sure, and is trying desperately to catch up. In this room, we know that for our Aussie athletes to reach their full potential in Milano 26, LA 28, French Alps 30, and then our home games in 32, they need much more support and much more government funding. So today I pledge that we will work with all of you, our members, to raise the bar, striving as one voice to advocate for greater funds for both our summer and winter Olympic sports. With Brisbane on the horizon, we get one shot at it and we can't miss. That's my commitment and my pledge. As I mentioned last night, thank you for no one running against me, and I'm delighted to be able to continue in this role for another 4 years. You'll be pleased to know I remain highly energised. I'll continue to work every day as your president for the next 4 years to nurture and grow the Olympic movement in this country. I commit myself to being a champion for all our sports, summer and winter. I commit myself to driving a new approach to fundraising and philanthropy. With the support of the new executive, we'll start work immediately to raise money to play our role in making a difference in your world, bringing benefits to our member sports and their athletes and their support staff. The opportunities to flow again from being a host nation must be felt by the whole movement, and legacy and impact won't just happen. We will work collaboratively to maximise the outcomes and set us all up for an even brighter future. Olympian services will be further prioritised, highlighting our Olympic alumni's achievements and their ability to create an even better Australia. I commit myself to further advancing reconciliation with our First Nations people through sport. And finally, and most importantly, I commit to driving opportunities for the athletes who bring to life what we're all about by striving to be the best that they can be every day and inspiring so many along the way. Thank you for your support. I look out and I see a united Olympic movement. Thank you very much for your support. We are stronger together. Thank you. Okay. Change of voice, won't that be good? Evelyn Halls is going to take control of the presentation for the Harry Gordon CMGAM Memorial Award for Olympic Journalism. Thanks, Evelyn.
Thanks, Ian. The late Harry Gordon was Australia's preeminent Olympic sports writer and historian. The Harry Gordon Memorial Award for Olympic Journalism honours Harry Gordon's legacy of excellence in sports writing. The recipient of the 4th Harry Gordon Award, as judged by an independent panel consisting of Alex Hamill, Gordon Bray and Tracy Adamson, is Tom Decent from 9 newspapers. In a competitive field of 42 entries from Australia's highest profile sports journalists, Tom took the award with 2 articles related to the swimming competition at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Please welcome Tom Decent to the stage.
So the AOC, I'm not organised here, please. Thank you. You awake? We're good. The AOC would like to acknowledge that on 1 January 2025, John Coates became the Australian Olympic Committee's Honorary Life President. The position was conferred by the AOC Executive on March 22 in recognition of John's service to the Olympic movement, sport and his contribution as elected President of the AOC. The position of Honorary Life President commenced on the date on which John ceased to be an AOC member. As explained in the AOC Constitution, the position of Honorary Life President is a permanent member of the AOC without voting rights, is not a member of the Executive and may simultaneously be a life member of the AOC. John Coates is the longest serving President of the Australian Olympic Committee, retiring in 2022 after 32 years in office. He was a member of the International Olympic Committee for 23 years, including 12 years as the IOC Executive Board, and which 8 were spent as Vice President. As chef de mission and general manager, John led the Australian teams in Seoul 88, Barcelona 1992, Atlanta 1996, Sydney 2000, Athens 2004 and Beijing 2008. He held other senior Australian team positions in Montreal 1976, Moscow 1980 and Los Angeles 1984. He was a council member of the International Rowing Federation for 22 years, Honorary Secretary, then President of Australian Amateur Rowing Council for 9 years, Deputy Chair of the Australian Institute of Sport and Sports Commission for 14 years, and Board Member of Sydney Olympic Park Authority for 11 years. John is the only person to have secured 2 Olympic Games for this country. He was Senior Vice President of the Sydney Organising Committee for the 2000 Olympic Games, and as a Vice President of Brisbane 2032 Organising Committee for these Olympic and Paralympic Games. He was appointed a member of the International Council of Arbitration for Sport, ICAS, in 1994 and President ICAS and the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, in 2011. John has a Bachelor of Laws from the University of Sydney and has served on ASX listed companies, including David Jones Limited for 17 years, 8 as Deputy Chair. He's been Chair of Thoroughbred Horse Auctioneers William Inglis and Sons since 2007. John was awarded the IOC's highest honour, the Olympic Order of Gold, at the closing ceremony of the Sydney Olympics and the FISA Medal of Honour during those games. He was awarded the Australian Sports Medal in 2001 for service to the Olympic movement and Centenary Medal in 2003 for outstanding service to the development of elite sport in Australia. John was appointed as a member of the Order of Australia, AM, in 1989 for service to rowing, and as an officer, AO, in 1995 for service to the advancement of sport and the Olympic movement. In 2006, John was appointed to Australia's highest civilian honour as a Companion of the Order of Australia, John Coates AC, for the development of sport nationally and internationally through the Olympic movement, promoting the well-being of youth and the values of tolerance, understanding, peace and mutual respect between the peoples of the world. Following his retirement from the IOC and the AOC, John was appointed as an Honorary Life Member and AOC Honorary President for Life, as we know. John was Chair of the IOC Coordination Commission for Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, and the Cabinet of the Government of Japan has recently approved the conferment on John as a foreign recipient of the Order of the Rising Sun, Gold and Silver Star. The conferment by the Japanese government will be at the Imperial Palace on May 9 this year, just in a few days' time, when the IOC President Thomas Bach will receive the Emperor, the Grand Cordon of the Rising Sun. It's an extraordinary record in sport and life, and we acknowledge John Coates as our Honorary Life President.
I can wait. I think one of the, I've been taught, things that outgoing presidents are most judged on are the successes they produce. And having heard Ian and watched the proceedings here today, I couldn't be more pleased with the IOC and the Olympic movement in this country being in his very worthy hands. And I've had also the recent opportunity with outgoing President Thomas Bach to have identified Kirsty Coventry as far back as 2016. She was a member of the Coordination Commission for Tokyo that you heard I chaired, and she was just an outstanding leader in any of the working groups that we had. And in fact, there was her and another young athlete, and I always used to choose to have dinner with them after the meetings. And they'd say, "How did you go today?" And I said, "Oh, I thought 8.9, you could do a bit better in this area, Kirsty, and Mikey, you might have been this." But it was very clear that she was something very special. And so in 2016, my Deputy Chair, Alex Glardy, and I proposed to Thomas Bach that she should be the next President of the IOC, and I've been working. The area that I received the most joy from was my involvement in a chef de mission of 6 teams, as you're finding, Anna, and before that, 3 other teams. And to live with the athletes in the Olympic Village and to be with them during the ups and downs, to sit down with someone who mightn't have done so well in the dining room and just talk things through, or just be with them, or to wander through, as I used to do most mornings, to the medical areas and chat to the kids who are getting some help there. That was a unique experience and honour. And so I think I highlight that. And Ian, you've had it with 6 winter teams and a summer. He's got one up on me. But that was the great joy that I've had, the greatest joy that I've had out of this role. I've had a rough time in recent times, but I've, in the last 2 weeks, had a clearance for cancer. Most of you have heard about this or read about it. Traces of bowel cancer in my blood are non-existent, and last week a PET scan confirmed non-existence. So I think I could be dangerous again. I wasn't directing that at you, Arietta. But I certainly will make sure that I'm well enough to support you, Andrew, Alison and others, with our mission now for Brisbane. And on that note, I think I'd also like to acknowledge very much the support I received from Orietta and my children, 4 of whom are here. Orietta and I got married in 2017. We'd been together a bit before that. I don't think she ever understood what for better or worse really was going to mean. I've had well over 30 admissions to hospital in that time, but she's been there giving me great support, and most of you know that in this room, and similarly with my boys. One of them, Alison's not here because he's a member of the Defence Reserve. He's digging holes in case there's an invasion. And I was telling Helen, my daughter, her husband works at the World Bank, so they're living in Washington. Fiona and I said to Helen the other day, Helen Brownlee, each morning she comes outside the White House with a little flag, "Pardon John Coates." And Helen said, "What had you done?" And I said, "You'll find out." And on that note, I'll leave it for you. Maybe something will come out, but you never know. That attempted joke might have fallen flat. But on that point, I think that's enough for me to thank you for this singular honour, and to wish this organisation, the executive, the president, all the very best, particularly as we lead up to our next big challenge in Brisbane. So thank you very much, everyone.
Hold it. Come over and take a photograph.
Yeah. Let's see if we can step out without it.
Okay, thanks, John. The next item is our AOC Life Member Award. AOC Life membership may be conferred by the AOC Executive upon an individual who has served as an elected member of the Executive for at least 13 years and who has rendered outstanding service to the Olympic movement and sport. In November last year, the AOC Executive conferred life membership on Russ Withers, who provided outstanding service to the AOC as a member of the Executive from 2001 and 2015. We came in the same vote. During that period, he was always generous with his time, serving as chair of the AOC Audit Committee, a member of the AOC Finance Commission, a director of the Australian Olympic Foundation, and as chair of its Audit and Risk Committee, and as a member of our Investment Advisory Committee. His expertise and calm advice was always sought after and valued by then President John Coates AC and his fellow executive members. Russ has a deep interest in all sports, summer and winter, and was always great to see him at the Winter Games as well, but he came to the Olympic movement through his love of equestrian sport. Russ was president of the then Australian Equestrian Federation from 2001 to 2006. He was the equestrian section manager for the Australian team in Atlanta in 1996. In 2008, Russ, as we of course call him, was the deputy chef de mission for the Australian Olympic team at Beijing. His knowledge and judgment were also highly valued within the sport by Russ, providing the expert course commentary for spectators at the Sydney 2000 and Athens 2004 Olympic Games and Equestrian World Championships. We welcome Russ to the stage and ask him to accept this award in recognition of becoming an AOC Life member.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Ian. Thank you so much for the honour that you've bestowed on me, and thanks to the executive. It is a great honour to receive a life membership of the Australian Olympic Committee, and certainly it's one of the most memorable times of my life and my involvement in the AOC. Can I just say a few words about the Australian Olympic Committee? There is no doubt that the AOC is one of the leading national committees in the Olympic movement. Indeed, I think probably the preeminent National Olympic Committee. And there are very good reasons for that. One is certainly the strength of the individual member sports that are in this room. Certainly the strength of management over the years, certainly with Matt Carroll leading the team at the moment, but going back through Fiona de Jong, Craig Phillips, Craig McClatchy, they've all contributed enormously to the sound management of the AOC. The strength of our presidents, Ian Chesterman, it's been a hard act to follow, but Ian has done a wonderful job, and of course, before Ian, the exceptional leadership of John Coates. My first Olympic Games was as a tacker at 10 years old at Melbourne in 1956. I think my most memorable one was undoubtedly Sydney, as I'm sure it was for many of us in this room. And I certainly look forward, as we all do, to the Games in Brisbane in 2032. I'm sure they will be wonderful games, and congratulations and good luck to Andrew steering us towards those games. Having said that, the Australian Olympic Committee is an outstanding organisation. It's governed to the highest standards, and it is indeed a great honour that I accept the award of life membership. Thank you very much. Cheers.
I will now hand over to Matt Allen to chair the meeting for the next items on the agenda. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Ian. It gives me great pleasure to do the presentation of Order of Merit Award for Matt Carroll. Having worked with him at the Australian Olympic Committee for the last 8 years, and before that when he was the CEO of Sailing and I was the President. And Pyrrha, great to have you in the room with us today as well, Matt's wife. The AIC may confer the Order of Merit on a person who, in the opinion of the AIC executive, has achieved remarkable merit in the sporting world, either through personal achievement or contribution to the development of sport. The AIC executive have conferred the Order of Merit, our highest award, on Matt Carroll AM. Matt joined the AIC in 2017, and he leaves it today having delivered a transformation of our community programs and how we engage with communities across Australia, and a transformation of our relationships with governments, with our partners, with our own people, and so critically with our member sports. During his stewardship, Matt led 4 very successful Olympic Games: Pyeongchang 2018, Tokyo 2020, Beijing 2022, and of course Paris 2024. Of particular note was Matt's leadership and expertise navigating the very complex challenges of a COVID environment, which ensured the team could travel and compete safely at the Tokyo and Beijing Games. It is hard to comprehend how challenging that time was, navigating IOC and various government directives, media pressure, but first and foremost, the enormous challenge of knowing you are responsible for the safety and health of Australia's treasured Olympians and the entire Olympic team. It was an incredible feat, a testament to his leadership. Importantly, Matt has always put athletes at the heart of what we do. He has championed them, elevated their voice, and at many times been their voice. Matt has meaningfully progressed our real commitment to reconciliation, working closely with our Indigenous athletes on our Indigenous Advisory Committee. He has shown strength, patience, and pragmatism. As you know, in the Olympics, we talk a lot about legacy because it matters, and it's something we value deeply. Matt leaves the AIC in a far better position than he found it. In my mind, that is the very definition of legacy. Please join me in acknowledging our thanks to Matt for his contribution to the Australian Olympic Committee and the Olympic movement, and welcome him to the stage.
Thanks, Matt, and thank you, Ian, and thank you to the executive for this particular honour. I was really, people say to me, why now? A room full of sports people. Timing is everything in life, and timing is everything in sport. So good time for me now to hand over. I've enjoyed thoroughly these 8 years, and I use the word enjoyed because I've been able to go to work every day and enjoy what I do. And not only just for the AOC, but what I've enjoyed is the interaction, daily interaction almost, with a lot of people in this room, with the sports, that I was able to bring the experience of 30-odd years in rugby and football and sailing, and even a bit of Japanese sport as well, to the role of the AOC. It's been greatly pleasing and greatly rewarding personally for me. The friendships I've made, I'm still very happy to, someone that I said to last night to someone, look, it'll only cost you a beer or a coffee if you want a bit of cheap advice, but that's okay. So I look forward again to continue the relationships with a lot of the people in this room. And as I said in my speech, I really couldn't have asked for more than being the Chief Executive of the Australian Olympic Committee over these years. my background as a builders, my staff and management team know I'm rather pragmatic and very practical about things, and have a tendency to call things like the mystery of the 5 rings. Because when I got here, it was a little bit of a mystery. I worked my way through it, through John Coates, what it all means. But I do like to get things done, otherwise what's the point of doing the job? But thank you so much. It has been one heck of a great 8 years. Thank you.
We will now move to item 13 of the agenda, the election of office bearers and elected members of the executive. I'm very pleased to advise that with only one nomination having been received for the position of President, I declare Ian Chesterman elected unopposed. Congratulations, Ian. I'll now hand the chair back to Ian. Thank you.
Wow, thought I was getting a break there for a while. Now to the fun part, folks. Not quite to voting. We have one more important thing to announce. Again, I said it before, but thank you very much. I'm highly energised for this job, looking forward to it, and looking forward to having great vice presidents around me. I can advise that with only 2 nominations being received for the 2 positions of vice president, I declare Matt Allen and Evelyn Halls elected unopposed. Congratulations, Matt and Evelyn. Okay, get your phones ready, folks. As there are 13 candidates for 7 positions, voting shall be by an exhaustive ballot process. The procedures for the operation of the exhaustive ballot are described in the voting procedures memorandum circulated with the agenda on April the 11th. So we're going to move now to voting for the first position. Then we'll work our way through all the way down to number 7. So voting is now open for the first position of the AOC executive. I now ask you to cast your vote via the email that or SMS that you received from TrueVote by selecting from the list of names of your preferred candidate. You can select only one name. Mine is in, so hopefully yours are as well. I'll be advised soon with the closing of voting. 6 votes have not been counted. There's a few issues here. They've not been. Few have not received their votes, their email or SMS yet.
Interesting day, that wasn't it?
Can you put your hands up if you're in that situation?
She said, I've got this. I said, yeah, I know.
Over here as well. Did it work the first time, folks?
Good idea from all the pictures and potentials, yours and others. I mean, it's not exciting getting from foundation to build on whatever.
I know the Russians aren't happy with the Olympic movement, so... I was just about to boast of being 20 minutes ahead of time. Are you right now? Anybody still got a problem? One still to go. Told, are we at to close yet? Or? Okay.
No, we do declare during. It's different from some of the processes.
So we declare at the end of each position?
I think we declare during. Yeah, it's actually during.
So we'll go to the first position, and he'll be able to say, well,
yeah.
That's when you get an idea.
So it depends on it's different depending whether it's a majority or not a majority. Like it's
yes,
yeah,
if it's not, you have to go.
Depends what you declare. There's like seven different scenarios. So complicated.
If you want to see what stress looks like, look at the face of our CFO, Todd Day, at the moment. We good, Todd?
When I was challenged, they had a Queen's Council here checking it for Queen's Council from it.
We're just trying to fix the issue with, instead of an email option for those people having trouble with emails, to go to an SMS service. So please just bear with us for a couple of minutes. Progress is being made, folks. That's good news. If we'd known it was going to take, over there, hello. If we'd known it was going to take this long, we would have organised a showing of the conclave for you. But no, it's all right. Okay, we have now closed that round of voting. We'll now wait for the votes to be collated. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a result. The number of ballot papers were 97. The number of votes cast were 97. The number of votes received by each candidate were Kitty Chiller, 76, Elisa Camplin-Warner, 5, Lane Beachley, 5, Phil Jones, 4, Catherine Fattel, 3, Elizabeth Scott, Liz Scott, 2, Craig Bingham, 1, Phil Hundorf, 1, Craig Cowraher, John Carey, Michael Murphy, Sandra Sully and Susie O'Neill each received no votes. Thank you. So we congratulate Kitty Chiller. So, he says nervously, voting is now open for the second position of the AOC executive. So you know the system. You can cast your vote via email or SMS on the True Vote system, and you have to choose your preferred candidate, and you can only choose one name. So it's going to take a couple of minutes to reset the vote, so you can give your screen a bit of a break. You're going to give me a thumbs up, Todd, to... What's that? Okay, let's start again. Voting is now open for the second position of the AOC executive. Please cast your vote via the email or SMS you have received from TrueVote by selecting the list of names, your preferred candidate. Can you please select one name only? Anybody not received it yet? Promising signs. 4 to come in still. 4 votes still haven't been cast. Everybody's received it though, have they? Two votes, 1 vote. There's 1 vote still outstanding. All closed. Okay, thank you very much. We'll close that round of voting and we'll await the results. Thank you. So the number of ballot papers were 97. The number of votes cast were 97. The number of votes received by each candidate were Craig Carraher 79, Phil Jones 4, Kath Fattel 3, Lane Beachley 3, Elisa Camplin-Warner 2, Crane Bigham 2, Phil Hamdorf 2, Susie O'Neill 2, Liz Scott, John Carey, Michael Murphy and Sandra Sally did not receive a vote, and so we congratulate Craig Carraher on returning to the Executive. We'll wait for the reset. 2 down, 5 to go, folks. Okay. Voting is now open for the third position on the AOC Executive. I now ask you to cast your vote via the email or SMS you've now received from TrueVote by selecting the list of names, from the list of names, your preferred candidate. And I repeat, you can only select one name. All in. Anybody not received one yet? Seems to be working better now. That's great. Okay, everyone's voted. Everyone's getting the hang of this, which is great. I now declare the voting closed and we'll await for the votes to be collated. So position number 3, the number of ballot papers were 97. The number of votes cast were 97. The number of votes received by each candidate were Michael Murphy 54, Phil Jones 26, Susie O'Neill 4, Catherine Fattel 3, Lane Beachley 3, Elisa Camplin-Warner 2, Phil Hamdorf 2, Sandra Sally 2, Elizabeth Scott 1, Craig Bingham and John Kerry 0 votes. So it gives me much pleasure to confirm Michael Murphy elected back to the executive. Again, we'll wait for the reset. Okay, good news. Voting is now open for the 4th position of the AOC executive. I think you've got into the flow of things now. You've got a new email or SMS from TrueVote. You need to still select your preferred candidate, and you can only select one name for the 4th position on the executive. Two votes still remaining. One vote. And we declare the ballot closed, and we'll wait for the votes to be collated. So I have the results. The number of ballot papers were 97. The number of votes cast were 97. The number of votes received by each candidate were Liz Scott, 74, Phil Jones, 6, Lane Beachley, 5, Catherine Fattel, 3, Sandra Sully, 3, Susie O'Neill, 3, Phil Hamdorf, 2, Elisa Camplin-Warner, 1, and Craig Bingham and John Kerry, 0 votes. And I congratulate Liz Scott. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, folks, here we go. Voting is now open for the 5th position of the AEST executive. You know the process. Your new email or SMS should have arrived by now, hopefully. From TrueVote, select from the list of names your preferred candidate. You can only select one name. Three to go, folks. 4 to go. 2 to go. Still 2 to go. We've got a problem over here again. Makes no sense. It can work sometimes and not others. Still 2 votes to go. 1 vote to go. Still 1 vote to go. Is anybody else having trouble? There's still one over there having trouble. No, all good. Nobody else having trouble? All good. All in. I'll close the ballot. Thank you. Okay, folks, the results of the ballot. The number of ballot papers were 97. The number of votes cast, 97. The number of votes received by each candidate were Elisa Camplin-Warner, 77, Lane Beachley, 5, Phil Jones, 4, Susie O'Neill, 4, Catherine Fattel, 3, Phil Hamdorf, 2, Sandra Sully, 2, Craig Bingham and John Kerry did not receive a vote. We congratulate Elisa Camplin-Warner. Okay, thanks, Todd. Let's move to the quick reset wait and We'll move to the 6th ballot. Okay. Voting is now open for the 6th position on the AEST executive. Check your email SMS received from TrueVote. Select one name your preferred candidate from the list, please. Two still to come in, folks. One. Anybody having an issue? Still one vote remaining. No one's having an issue. Oh, Kath having a problem. Thank you. She's in the back row. Marianne, we got success? Okay, we're closed. All good, thank you very much. We'll await the collation of the votes. Folks, we have a result of the ballot. The number of ballot papers were 97. Number of votes cast, 97. The number of votes received by each candidate: Susie O'Neill, 80, Lane Beachley, 5, Phil Jones, 4, Catherine Fattel, 3, Phil Hamdorf, 2, Craig Bingham and John Kerry did not record a vote. So congratulations to Susie O'Neill. Okay, we're down to a reset for the final vote, folks. Not necessarily the final vote, but for the final position. Voting is now open for the 7th round, folks. We know the process. You should have received an email or SMS from TrueVote. You've got to select one name only, your preferred candidate. Thank you. Five to go, folks. 4, 3, 2, 1. Anybody got a problem? All good. So I'll declare voting closed and we'll now await for the votes to be collated. So, folks, we have the 7th position ballot in. We have a result. The number of ballots were 97. The number of votes cast were 97. The number of votes received were Craig Bingham, 63, Phil Jones, 20, Sandra Sully, 5, Lane Beachley, 4, Catherine Fattel, 3, Phil Hamdorf, 2, and John Kerry, 0. Folks, congratulations to Craig Bingham. Can I add my congratulations to the successful candidates? Can I also thank all candidates for engaging in this process? I think it's fantastic to have people interested to serve, and I know the candidates were all very strong, so thank you very much for all involved, but please put your hands together again for the successful candidates. Okay, we're nearly there. The bride's just breathed a sigh of relief. We're only at 11:20. So we've got one item left on the agenda, which is general business. Is there any general business from the floor? No, then if not, thank you very much for your attendance, and I officially close the meeting. Just before you depart, there will be a media conference here, so we ask you to clear the room pretty quickly so that we can get on with that. But there's been an excellent video prepared by Channel 9 ahead of the Milano Cortina 26 Olympic Winter Games, and I would ask that you stay and watch that, and then please feel free to move outside. Thank you very much.